On today's video, I'm going to be checking out this EcoWorthy 12.8 volt 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery with built-in display and Bluetooth. Let's get right into it. Charging up the EcoWorthy battery before the capacity pull. Notice the LED indicators on top of the battery. Give you a little shot of the EcoWorthy app while the battery's charging. Some of the data it reports right there. One thing right off the bat I don't like about the app, it does not give you an actual battery temperature. It just says normal, so it is what it is. The outer case of the battery is around 68.5 degrees Fahrenheit. Up here at the top of the state of charge, 3.64 on cell number 1 and 4, and then cell 3 is lagging. All right, the charger completed its sequence. So now I've got the battery connected to my capacity test rig, the same setup I always use for consistency between each battery. The energy meter has been zeroed out. The inverter is still off. 13.63 volts indicated by the BMS and 13.63 volts at the terminals. Turning the inverter on now. 5 watt idle draw on the inverter, 0.36 of an amp. Can the Bluetooth reporting or the BMS pick that up? No, it can't. And again, most BMSs have about a half an amp threshold on the 12 volt models. All right, here goes the load for the capacity test. It's the same charger, charging back to another 12 volt battery. I'm economizing. So the capacity run is underway on the EcoWorthy. 53.2 amps right there, 700 watts plus or minus. And the goal for this capacity test is, of course, 1,280 watt hours. 37% left. Showing you the heat signature on the battery. Got a little hot spot there. One right there. And one over there. So corresponding should be a little spot right here. Probably a wire or something close to the edge. Right in here. And then right around in there as well. I don't know if the EcoWorthy is going to make it. No, and it just shut off. I'm glad I hit record on the camera. So I have to let the BMS reset because that got the BMS. It was not the inverter. You see on the Bluetooth right there, 0% and creeping back up above 11 volts now. And a notification through the app, battery depleted, recharge required. Remember cell number 3 during the charging phase, it didn't come up as high as the others. Looks like cell 3, well, now it disconnected from the Bluetooth, so there's no data because the battery is dead. Let me try to get back through it right there. So you even lose your Bluetooth once the BMS shuts down. It doesn't keep that alive. So, all right. So now we have no Bluetooth data to reference the cell voltage, but it appears that cell 3 probably dropped down and triggered it. All right, at 11.23 volts, everything came back up. So the BMS powered back up on the battery. Once it sat there and stabilized for a minute, we have a display. Yeah, we still have a display on there. So 1,271 watt hours out of the EcoWorthy. Now let's see if the Bluetooth will reconnect now that the BMS came back up on the battery. Let's see if we can get it back. All right, we got it back. Once the data came back up for the Bluetooth monitoring, you see cell 3 is at 2.6 right now. Most protection strategies, the cells are 2.5 volt minimum, and you saw that cell was below 2.5, so we're going to run with that this BMS triggered on cell number 3. So what comes with this battery? Well, you get a user manual, a spec card, and a little brochure talking about their cell support structure, and 2 terminal bolts with a QC pass certificate. So I'm glad the bolts passed their quality control checks. And of course, as you saw in the video already, we have the built-in Bluetooth. Use EcoWorthy's app to monitor the battery, and then the top of the battery has a built-in display showing your state of charge, high temp, low temp, over voltage protection, under voltage, over current protection, and BMS fault LED indicators. Turn them on and off by hitting the little switch right there. This is the product specification guide provided by EcoWorthy and the battery package. Pause if you need to read further. If not, we'll continue on. This is a very basic user manual, but I want to highlight a couple of points I noticed in the manual. Check this out right here. The BMS in the battery can provide low temp protection if the ambient temperature drops below 19.4 Fahrenheit plus or minus 9 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, so that's I'm assuming their low temperature charge protection point. And look right here, improper operation that damages the battery. Charging the battery below 32 degrees Fahrenheit will cause battery life to decay. Well, if that's the case, why did you program your low temp protection point so low? So the battery size is kind of in between a Group 31 and a Group 24. It's 1.5 inches, 2 inches longer than a Group 24 and about 1.5 inches, 2 inches shorter than a Group 31. But the height and width is close to in between the both of those. So it's kind of got a unique case design. As you can see, it's got some ridges on the plastic right there, I guess for reinforcement. And got ridges down the side right there. They've got their information on the front right here. They've got the BMS address right here, the MAC ID. This is to download the app and all that good stuff. We got carry handles on the side right there on both sides, and right there just showing 12.8 volt, 100 amp hour, showing, you know, different. It's kind of like an advertisement sticker on the side right there. Then we'll go around to the back right here. There's your data sheet on the back of the battery, showing your specifications that are on the little spec guide right there, and then some, you know, cautions and warnings right here. So I'm going to attempt to take the lid off of this battery. I don't know if I can disassemble this one, do a teardown without breaking the lid, but we'll see what happens. So we'll crack it open. I got the lid most of the way off. Saved the last little bit of epoxy for you as a U-channel seal. Epoxy down between the top and the bottom. So let me finish cracking that off just like that. Let's take a look at it. So underneath the lid right here, you see the back of the display. There's display comm cable right there. Checking the positive and negative leads for tightness. They are tight, nothing loose. They've got some protective caps. The cap was correctly on there. I pulled that off just to check the tightness. It's got a sheath on it, a fiberglass sheath to protect the outer jacket of the wire. It's tight. That is a soldered connection to the BMS. Take it apart a little bit further and we'll look down into the cells and the overall construction. So the negative lead is in fact 2 8-gauge cables with a 200-degree silicone jacket. The positive lead is a 6-gauge 200-degree jacket. So if that is a 100 amp BMS, I said this is about industry standard, a single 6 for the positive and 2 8s for the negative, so should be adequate for this battery. MAC ID right here on top of the BMS as well, correspond with the one on the lid. You can see the BMS is sitting firmly on top of a piece of fiberboard. Actually got a piece of fiberboard under the BMS, and that's glued to another piece of fiberboard. You can see the balance leads right here are secured down, so there's no moving. We have one NTC sensor, it appears right there. Okay, just hanging out, not even connected to anything. So that's a detractor. I was not expecting that. And note, the BMS also has a bimetallic thermal switch sitting underneath that heatsink right there for over-temp protections, things like that. So there's a little switch tucked in right up underneath there, under the FET bank. Now they got the BMS off the top of the cells. You can see the bimetallic thermal switch under the heatsink right there. So there is part of the metal compression structure they got right there. You see how it's steel on both sides of the cells. And then that steel structure is screwed down into the bottom of the case. There's a reinforced piece of plastic right here. 2 screws holding the bottom plate of that on. Then they sit the cells in. Then they put the top plate on and screw all that together so the cells will not come out of the case. They will not move in the case. So to get the whole cell rack out, you have to disassemble everything. So it's built in place, you know, as they're producing the battery. And you see the unique feature in this battery compared to some of the other ones I've reviewed. They actually got plastic guards protecting the cell connecting bus bars, and they have large expansion humps right there. So that's pretty unique. I like seeing that. And then the negative terminal is tight, and then the positive terminal is tight as well. Nothing loose in this battery so far. So if I snap one of the tabs off, you can see right there, pretty decent laser welds on that. Centered over the terminals pretty well, so nothing to complain about right there. And judging by the markings on these cells and the first digits of the production code on that QR right there, looks like to be REPT cells, REPTs, but I'll scan it and we'll see. So here's a QR code on one of the cells. I will put this through my scanner and see what kind of information I can find. So the QR scanner did validate my assumption about the cells. If you noticed on the scan right there, the production date on these cells is indicated December of 2024. It is now November of 2025, so roughly 11-month-old cells. Now, of course, I forgot to mention before I removed the board to look at the cells, but remember the thermal image of this battery. Note it has some hot spots sitting here and over here. It appears that's where the leads were just resting up against the side of the case, transferring some heat. And since I have no temperature display on the Bluetooth besides normal or whatever, I took a sensor off of this meter and taped it up against the sensor on the BMS right there. So when I do a high and low temp protection, we can see where it triggers at and give us a rough estimate of the temperature. So I'll do the high temp check first. I'll apply heat to the sensor. You'll see the temperature climb here. Whenever the over temperature protection triggers, see the current drop here, and we should have an indicator over there. Let me turn the display back on. It times out after a couple of minutes. So there we go, got the display back on. Now we're set. Here we go. All right, around the 160 degree mark, plus or minus. So now I'll let the sensor cool back down and we'll kind of see where we triggered back at. You can see right there, high temp protection over there. So around 125 plus or minus, the battery goes back to charging. You can see the high temp indicator over there is gone now. So now I'll do the same thing, but this time for low temp charge protection. Remember, watch right here. Here we'll get a good temperature estimate right here, best we can. So I'll put the sensor in the ice pack right there. All right, watch temperature here, and then we'll see if the low temp charge protection functions. All right, we're below freezing. All right, below the 19 degree Fahrenheit mark they had in the book. Remember, they had a plus or minus 9 on their trigger point. Okay, that is 2 minutes with the ice pack applied, around 18.7 degrees Fahrenheit and no trigger. I left it on there for 2 minutes to see if there was a trigger delay. It's not triggering low temp charge protection. So if you're charging, it's allowing the battery to charge at 18 degrees Fahrenheit at 50 or 60 amps into those cells. They're not long for this world. So I'm going to share my final thoughts on this battery. If you watched the video, you saw some of the things I found, but I will sum it up for you. For those of you that like to skip ahead, I wish you had watched the whole video, but if you're coming to the end for the conclusion, I'll give you the high points, or at least a couple of them. All right, this battery technically was a fail because we did not reach rated capacity. It's been a while since I've had a battery come up short on capacity. And considering that is the price point of this battery at time of filming, I was hoping for a lot better on the capacity test. And if you watched the low temperature charge protection portion of the video, you saw what happened there. I would call the app fair. It gives you some data. It doesn't give you the temperatures and things like that, like I'd like to see just a normal status. So maybe that's, from what happened here is why they don't show you the real temperature of what's going on in the battery. I mean, the cell construction, cell assembly is built fairly well. I'm kind of a no-name BMS. I've seen this board before in a different battery. Can't find the manufacturer who actually makes this. Not the only one that uses this board right here. Having the display on the top is a nice feature as well. And regarding capacity, here's how it's going to go. They're going to come in and leave a comment, or they're going to email me and say I need to cycle the battery 5, 10, 15, 20 times, etc., to realize the rated capacity. I'm going to tell you what, if it don't deliver rated capacity out of the box, that's a fail. You can get a battery a lot cheaper than this one, and it'll punch out 104, 105 easy. A brand new battery with decent quality cells, decent grade cells, will do 102 to 105. You should expect over 100 amp hours of capacity. And if you're not getting over 100 amp hours capacity, you're getting punked. But rant over. If you're wanting to look into this battery, I'll provide a convenient link in the video description down below so you can easily find it, check current price, check their claims, things like that. And I'll also include some video links in the description so you can check out some other budget-friendly batteries. I want you to get the best value for your money, and personally, I don't think this one's it. Check out some of those other videos, compare for yourself, make your own decisions. I'm just trying to provide you the information so you can make an informed purchasing decision. So let me know what you think about this battery in the comment section down below. So I hope you enjoyed the video today. As always, thank you for watching. Y'all take care, be safe. I will see you on the next one. Special thanks to EcoWorthy for providing this field testing sample for me to evaluate.